Hello everyone. Thank you very much for watching this video. This is Class NK Zero Emission Transition Center. We research on trend of the maritime industry and provide the latest information to support the industry's efforts for the transition to the better and greener shipping. This video provides the overview of the Sea Cargo Charter, a framework established in October 2020 for charterers and cargo owners to support the reduction of GHG emissions from international shipping. This video consists of two parts. What is the Sea Cargo Charter? Is a section to explain the background, outline, and scope. And requirements under the Sea Cargo Charter is a brief introduction of what the signatories of the Charter have to do. For the better understanding of the background of the Sea Cargo Charter, let us first review the recent developments in GHG emissions reduction from international shipping. This slide shows the GHG reduction measures recently taken by the regulators, including the United Nations, IMO, and the EU, as well as the initiatives by the industry. On the regulated side, GHG reduction on a global scale is addressed by the United Nations. However, it is the International Maritime Organization, IMO, that is discussing the measures to reduce GHG emissions from international shipping. The United Nations adopted the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) in 2015 and the Paris Agreement at the end of the same year. In 2018, IMO adopted the initial strategy on reduction of GHG emissions from ships. It sets out the targets such as to reduce the total GHG emissions from international shipping by at least 50% by 2050 compared to 2008. Meanwhile, the EU is introducing the regional regulations because some critics say the IMO has been moving too slowly. As the latest development on the EU side, the European Green Deal was announced. This is a comprehensive policy package covering the areas of environment, economy, and finance. This policy package includes the EU's intention that its emission trading system, the EU ETS, should be expanded to international shipping to and from the EU ports. Responding to such global and regional movements from the regulatory aspects, the industry has also launched various initiatives to support the achievement of the IMO goals. Some of such initiatives are shown here. In June 2019, the Poseidon Principles were established, a framework for financial institutions to support the decarbonization of international shipping. For your information, a separate webinar featuring the Poseidon Principles is also available, so please watch it if you would like to know more about the Poseidon Principles. In September 2019, the Getting to Zero Coalition was established, aiming to have commercially viable zero-emission vessels into operation by 2030. Currently, the number of coalition members has exceeded 180 all around the world. Class NK supports their aim and joined the coalition in October 2019. Then, in October 2020, the Sea Cargo Charter was established, a framework for charterers to support the decarbonization of international shipping. From now on, we would like to focus on the Sea Cargo Charter. The Sea Cargo Charter was established in October 2020 by 17 charterers, mainly based in the United States and Europe. The Sea Cargo Charter sets up a common rule to quantitatively assess how much their chartering activities are aligned with the IMO GHG reduction targets. So based on this rule, the signatories should calculate the CO2 emissions from their cargo transportation and evaluate how much it is in line with the IMO GHG reduction targets previously explained. The signatories are to be charterers and cargo owners engaged in cargo transportation. These signatories are to assess and disclose the alignment scores of their CO2 emissions on the basis of vessels type and size and the fleet as a whole. This slide shows a list of the signatories of the Sea Cargo Charter as of 9 September 2021. The signatories increased to 23 from 17 at its establishment. As you can see, the signatories are spreading around the world, and even some major grain or oil shippers have joined this initiative. Under the Sea Cargo Charter, the signatories should collect the data of CO2 emissions in order to assess and disclose whether their chartering activities are aligned with the IMO targets. The scope of the requirements is wet and dry bulk carriers. Specifically, there are 4 ship types including dry bulk carriers, chemical tankers, oil tankers, and liquefied gas carriers. Therefore, if the signatory's cargo transportation is conducted by various types of vessels, the signatory should pick out only the transportation work conducted by these 4 types of vessels. In addition to the ship types, ship size also matters. The target vessels are those of 5,000 gross tonnage and above engaged in international voyage. These criteria for size and navigation area are the same as those of the IMO data collection system and EU MRV system. From 2022, vessels under 5,000 gross tonnage will also be subject to the requirements. The technical guidance of the Sea Cargo Charter sets out the target vessels and how to assess CO2 emissions and so on. Technical guidance can be obtained from the Sea Cargo Charter website. From now on, we will briefly explain the requirements for the signatories of the Sea Cargo Charter based on the contents of the technical guidance. This diagram summarizes the requirements for the signatories. It consists of 4 steps. Step 1. To collect the data, namely fuel consumption, the amount of cargo transported, and distance traveled, in order to calculate CO2 emissions. Step 2. To calculate the annual CO2 emissions from each voyage based on the data collected in Step 1 and compare them to the trajectory value to obtain the alignment score for each voyage. Step 3. To calculate the alignment scores for vessel category and annual activity of the fleet as a whole. Step 4. To disclose the scores in the signatory's sustainability report or the like, and also to report them to the Sea Cargo Charter Secretariat. The reported score of each signatory are publicized by the Secretariat every year. The Sea Cargo Charter sets out who to carry out each requirement and recommends that Step 2 and 3 are to be conducted by the signatories themselves or by a third party. Now let us look at each of these 4 steps a little more. Step 1 is data collection. The signatories should collect the 3 types of data for each voyage, which are fuel consumption during ballast and laden voyages, the amount of cargo transported, and actual distance traveled with cargoes. A voyage is defined as from the point of discharge of the previous cargo to the point of discharge of the cargo for the voyage under consideration. The data format is not specified, so various reports submitted from the ships can be used, such as noon reports or voyage reports. In case the signatories don't have access to these data, the signatories should collect the necessary data from ship owners or other relevant parties. In step 2, the carbon intensity metric called EEOI is calculated based on the data collected in step 1 in order to obtain voyage climate alignment. EEOI stands for Energy Efficiency Operational Indicator, meaning CO2 emitted from the actual transport work to move 1 ton of cargo 1 nautical mile. The calculated EEOI value of the voyage is compared with the trajectory value provided by the Sea Cargo Charter, and it is assessed how much the EEOI value is deviated from the trajectory value. The degree of deviation is called alignment. The alignment is shown as the percentage difference between the EEOI value and the trajectory value. When the alignment is plus, it means it's misaligned with the decarbonization trajectory. When the alignment is 0 or minus, it means it's aligned with the decarbonization trajectory. This slide shows how the Sea Cargo Charter sets the trajectory value. The trajectory value is based on the 2 assumptions. First, IMO goal to reduce GHG emissions by at least 50% by 2050 compared to 2008, as set out in the IMO initial GHG strategy. Second, a projection that transport work would increase by approximately 4 times compared to 2008, as extracted from the third IMO GHG study. Based on the 2 assumptions, the Sea Cargo Charter sets the trajectory value by ship type and size in a way that the trajectory values become stringent every year toward 2050. For your information, the starting point of this trajectory is 2012. EEOI trajectory value for 2012 is based on the study by University College London in 2015. In step 3, the alignment by ship type and size, or vessel category climate alignment, is calculated. For easy understanding, let's take an example as shown in the table of this slide. Please look at the first row below the field names of the table. You can see a bulker with the vessel size 1, a size category from 0 to less than 10,000 deadweight tonnage, as set out by the technical guidance. Here, EEOI values for all the transportation works over a year carried out by a bulker with the vessel size 1 are aggregated. And in this example, the aggregation is 33.7 as indicated in the green box. Meanwhile, the trajectory value for a bulker with the vessel size 1 is set as 35.73 by the Sea Cargo Charter, as indicated in the orange box. Apply these numbers to the equation, and then the alignment delta for this vessel category of bulker with size 1 is obtained, which is minus 5.7% as indicated in the blue box. And the minus means this vessel category is aligned with the decarbonization trajectory. In the same way, vessel category climate alignment should be calculated for all the combinations of vessel type and size. In addition to vessel category climate alignment, it is required to calculate annual activity climate alignment, the alignment for all the activities over a year by the fleet as a whole. This can be calculated by comparing the actual EEOI value of the entire fleet with the EEOI trajectory value for the entire fleet. EEOI trajectory value for the entire fleet can be obtained by the formula in the orange box. This formula intends to apply weighting to the trajectory value based on the transport work undertaken by each vessel category. Let's look at the table at the right bottom as an example. It contains the aggregation of transport work and CO2 emissions over a year undertaken by all vessel categories in the signatories fleet. Actual EEOI is calculated based on the transport work and CO2 emissions in this table by using the formula in the green box. EEOI trajectory value also can be calculated based on the same data, but here weighting is applied as shown by the formula in the orange box. The weighting is based on the transport work undertaken by each vessel category of the signatories fleet and the trajectory value for the concerned vessel category. Once the calculation is completed, a single value is obtained as the signatory's annual activity climate alignment, which is shown as a percentage difference with plus or minus. In case of this example in the table, annual activity climate alignment is obtained as minus 2.6% as indicated in the blue box. And the minus means the signatory's annual activity is aligned with the decarbonization trajectory. That's all for the necessary calculations. And finally, step 4. The signatory should disclose the vessel category climate alignment score and annual activity climate alignment score calculated in step 3. Vessel category climate alignment is the alignment score by vessel type and size, and annual activity climate alignment is the alignment score across the fleet as shown in the box. These scores will be disclosed through the signatory's annual sustainability report or the like. In addition, the scores will be reported to the Sea Cargo Charter Secretariat so that the Secretariat would disclose the scores of all the eligible signatories every year. As the Sea Cargo Charter was established in 2020, the first annual disclosure will be available in June 2022. This slide shows the annual schedule of the requirements explained before. Every year, the signatories should collect the data of the previous year by the end of January, calculate climate alignment scores, and report the scores to the Secretariat by the end of April. The Secretariat discloses the climate alignment scores of all the signatories by June 15. The reporting starts from the next calendar year after becoming a signatory. The data to be reported is about the chartering activities in the previous year. Data collection starts from the next fiscal quarter date after the date of becoming a signatory. That's all for the overview of the requirements for the signatories of the Sea Cargo Charter. Lastly, this slide explains the necessary documents and timeline to become a signatory of the Sea Cargo Charter. Those engaged in chartering activities, such as charterers and cargo owners, can become a signatory through a signature. For the signature, the candidate is required to submit a standard declaration and signatory application to the Secretariat, and after the application is granted, the signatory is required to announce that it is signatory of the Sea Cargo Charter. Further, the self-assessment is to be completed and submitted to the Secretariat within 5 months after becoming a signatory. That's all for the brief overview of the Sea Cargo Charter, a framework for charterers and cargo owners to support the decarbonization of international shipping. Class K is providing technical support related to the Sea Cargo Charter. Please feel free to contact Class K Zero Emission Transition Center for more details. Thank you very much for watching this video.